Good afternoon. Welcome to Military Strategies. We are live right now, March 30, 2026, the last day of March, the last day. The last chapter in the story of Pedro Sánchez and Donald Trump. Spain closes its airspace to the United States. Donald Trump's planes cannot fly over Spanish airspace if they are heading to liberate Iran. That's right. Last time we already had enough with the missiles. With photographs of the Spanish Prime Minister, who now, in addition, the President stands in a corner. One more escalation, one more step to make Spain the leading backer of the Ayatollahs. Family, your likes, your comments, let's get started. Family, good afternoon. Welcome to Military Strategies. Things are really stirred up right now internationally with the latest news from Spain, the latest chapter in the story of Pedro Sánchez and his crusade against Donald Trump and the United States of America. The headlines are incredible. The articles being published right now are amazing. Spain closes its airspace to US planes participating in the war with Iran. For example, the one we're looking at right now, there are hundreds of articles at this moment, and it has a hugely important international impact. The government still hasn't spent $946 million that the European Union allocated to it 6 months ago for the Dana. But nevertheless, they're focused on keeping US planes from passing through on their way to Iran. Not only that, there are more reports that the government isn't doing its job well. A new narco tunnel has been found on the border between Ceuta and Morocco, with several police officers and civil guard officers arrested. Welcome. And honestly, these are just smokescreens covering up the real problems that Spain is facing right now. 2 bases, Moron and Rota. The center of discord right now for the United States of America and for Spain. Some on one side and others on the other. They're unsure what will happen or if Spanish airspace is available. The other day, a B-1 Lancer, de facto the United States, is no longer using Spanish airspace for military operations in Iran. Not directly. They stop over in Spain, then go to Germany, from Germany to Greece, or from Greece, then to Iran. That does happen, that really happens, but obviously Donald Trump's latest move is a major affront against him. This latest stunt by Pedro Sánchez. Look at the map. Right now, what do we have? What's happening? What's going on? What's the situation at this moment? Well, look at this. Right now, a plane, a C-130T, a small tanker. It has crossed Spanish airspace, it has passed over Palma de Mallorca, it has been over Valencia, it has crossed from east to west and exited through Portugal. Heading to Lajes, most likely it's heading to Lajes. It's not the only one. There are more planes with their transponders turned off that have possibly crossed the airspace. This one, for example, is coming from the United Kingdom and hasn't crossed an important part of Spanish airspace, although it has. In the Spanish fire, in this area we see here the northern zone, Galicia. What's happening with this? Really? Well, Spain gets another medal. The Ayatollahs are going to put the Spanish president's photo on the ballistic missiles a bit more. A call has likely already been made to the embassy requesting they not use Pedro Sánchez's image again. This doesn't benefit him at all. Pedro has probably pulled some strings, maybe talked to the Iranian embassy in Spain. I'm going to tell them, please, we are your allies, but don't show our images because you're putting us in a pretty serious international problem. Iran, for its part, keeps doing its thing, keeps launching missiles, keeps attacking Israel, and things keep happening, things keep going on. But, of course, here's the thing. Looking at the map like this, we're going to go here, we're going to come over. Now to the 2 points of contention, one obviously is the Rota base, the Rota naval base, which also has a joint use airport, a runway that is used. This is the mini city of the United States of America. In Spain, we see a sports field, we see a space to play golf, even. That is, we see quite a lot of solid and permanent infrastructure throughout this whole area. It's a closed military area, restricted access, where you can't enter, you can't access without supervision or authorization. This military base is an economic powerhouse for the entire Cádiz region, for the Rota area. The hospitality industry here is thriving, thanks to the American military. It's a base that obviously generates a lot of money every year, money that comes from outside and stays here. And that could disappear. The United States could now be considering, with a regional partner in the area, moving its military bases from Spain to another location. Abandon Spain immediately. In fact, strategically, the option that could be offered to Donald Trump by one of his allies might actually be much better for him. An ally who, moreover, is not exactly Spain's best friend, quite the opposite, who has intentions of taking back. Two Spanish cities in North Africa, Ceuta and Melilla, who constantly sends waves of illegal migrants into Spain and also has intelligence agents working inside Spain. And that's a danger. Morocco could immediately host them and create a military base for the United States of America, so that they can move to Morocco. They already carry out joint maneuvers, they already do business with each other. Morocco is a major buyer of military equipment from the United States, unlike Spain, which buys very little or practically nothing anymore. Morocco is a partner for Donald Trump, an interesting partner who has recognized the existence of Israel and does business with the State of Israel. It is a country, in Donald Trump's view, that is moderate. And that is not hostile, unlike Spain right now. How did we get to this point? Well, we've gotten here because the Spanish government is currently involved in a lot of scandals, as we've been saying from day one, and it's using them every single day, every day. They're using it to launch verbal attacks against Donald Trump and against anything American or related to Israel. All in all, the controversy is in full swing. They're there, they're now closing the airspace, and we don't know what will come next. Obviously, those on the far left are going to demand that the military bases be closed, that we leave NATO. And about NATO, Spain is the only country that doesn't pay 5%. Donald Trump the other day was suggesting that there will be a modification of NATO. The level of protection depends on your payment. If you don't pay, you won't be protected. Is that so? Like that? That Spain might possibly have to leave NATO, or that the United States might leave NATO, and creates a new alliance outside of NATO, which could also include the United Kingdom. They left Europe, so why wouldn't the United States leave NATO? It could happen. A lot of things could happen at a moment like this. But I would also like to take this opportunity to show you what's happening right now in Iran. There they are. This is the military preparation for the invasion of the United States of America into Iranian territory. More than 30,000 soldiers have already been amassed as a ground strike force to launch an assault somewhere in Iran. Here on Military Strategies, we had already predicted this would happen. Donald Trump, who has said that he is going to take Iran's oil just like he did with Venezuela, and Iran says it will fight until the last grain of sand in its desert. Plain and simple, 30,000 soldiers. An operation that could make the regime collapse, that could bring change to the region. But it's also a risk for Donald Trump, a risk for the United States forces where they might possibly suffer casualties. War is undeniable, some live and others die. But what is the situation right now, today, at this moment? Well, this is incredible. There wouldn't be just 2 or 3, but up to 4 possible options for Donald Trump. 1, take the Strait of Hormuz, control all this area that we see here. And provide protection to the ships. 2, Kharm Island, the most important island within Iran's fuel export complex. What happened? This one has a high chance of happening, like having a lot of tickets in a lottery nobody wants to win. Because it would be a very, very hard blow for Iran, economically very hard, but that won't solve the existence of the regime. We have another option. Go to Isfahan and, among other things, take the uranium there. Isfahan. NATO coordinated a military operation at the same time in 3 different places. One in Qom, another in Fordo, here where we see, and the one in Natam, to recover the uranium so they don't have nuclear weapons. And there would be another option. The option that could actually overthrow the Iranian regime and return freedom to the people of Iran. Which one could that be, family? We are live right now on military strategies. 10,000 people, thank you so much for being with us. We're missing a lot of likes. It's the first show of the day. Thank you for your super chat. Do you also have them active? There's one last option. Do you like the content? You can also use PayPal Me, Estrategias Militares, to contribute. This option is going to drive Pedro Sánchez crazy. Liberate Tehran. 30,000 or 40,000 military personnel crossing the border from Suleimania, following the main road through Sanandaj, then coming down here, crossing the Zagros in light armored vehicles. A gigantic column heading to the capital, to Tehran, entering the streets with air cover. Apache helicopters, A-10 planes, F-15 fighter jets, drones, all protected like a turtle, like a Roman legion, advancing minute by minute. The Battle of Hamadan could become a reality. The battle on the outskirts of Tehran could become a reality. It's crazy. The United States is the same country that invaded Afghanistan, that invaded Iraq. On their way to Tehran, they'll stop by Kermanshah. They'll take out Iran's missile silos, liberating each city until they reach Tehran. And say game over to the Ayatollah. It would be interesting. Here's why I'd find that scenario interesting. The simple fact that the United States would launch a ground operation is it a change? Until now, they've been striking from the air and destroying military infrastructure. Going in on the ground is something different. What problems do I see with conquering the island of Karn? I see a serious, very serious and complicated problem with it. You'll need to set up anti-air defenses on the island, as they will send drones, missiles, and ballistic missiles at you around the clock, bomb you, and may even destroy the infrastructure. It's not worth it. It's symbolic. You can go in there, stay for a few hours, do what you have to do, and leave. But staying there permanently with the current situation. We're seeing it with the United Arab Emirates, which was attacked again today. There are new attacks happening. And now, imagine taking Karn Island, being so close to Iran, where drones can attack them. It's like putting a target on a very small object. The possibility of casualties not from ground combat is high because they're going to launch ballistic missiles. There are no shelters. There's no way. Also, there's a civilian population living there, and surely these civilians who live here will pass information directly to Iran using communication systems. Will they reveal the location of American troops? You can't remove all those civilians either. And expel them from the island, which means it's an added problem. The islands in the Strait of Hormuz have a similar story. Taking the island of Kesh, which is this one here. Take it. It means you'll also have to take the other side, Kesh. You're going to have to take this whole island of Kesh. You're going to have to control it. You'll need a lot of personnel to control everything, and you'll have to go into the tunnels. It's a war. A kind of Vietnam, but in the desert, full of tunnels. This island is full of tunnels. It's truly insane. It really is. I don't know if there are any photos around here of some places that are incredible. Is this what the United States wants, or is this what the United States wants to expose itself to? I don't think so. I also don't think it's going to provide the solution. You would even have to take Bandar Abbas to shut down the offensive naval capability. You would have to take this area here. Bandar Abbas is a large city with a big civilian population and many fanatics brought in by the regime by bus. In fact, we were watching the footage here exclusively on military strategy of what's being prepared over there or what they're preparing. They're recruiting 12-year-old children. And I don't think the United States wants to see images of 12-year-old kids in combat. I don't think they want that. However, the option I'm proposing, 40,000 soldiers in an armored column. With full air cover, that is a complete operation, they could reach Tehran. How long could it take? That I don't know. I don't know how Iran would set up its defense. I suppose they would lay mines and IEDs along the road, along the highways. It would be slow, maybe to give you an example, in Afghanistan, to advance 40 kilometers. It could take maybe 6 hours because every inch of the road had to be scanned for hidden explosive devices. Here, it would be more of the same. Getting into combat inside cities like Hamadan to take out the Basij or the Revolutionary Guard is another added problem that's going to slow you down. Your main objective, which is Tehran, you want to reach Tehran, you want to get there as quickly as possible. And once you're there, then yes, go in with everyone, have people take to the streets, and let that be a complete liberation. I think that's the only way the United States can do this. If they truly want to liberate the Iranian people, or maybe just seek an agreement, look at what Donald Trump has said. Just recently, earlier, he said something interesting. He had this to say.
They're worried about what they did. They're unarmed right now. They're going to give up nuclear weapons.
They're going to give us the nuclear weapons.
They're going to give us.
They're going to give us. They're going to give us the uranium.
Everything we want to do.
Everything we want.
And you know what? They're going to keep going, and maybe they'll have a great new country.
And maybe if they do, they're going to have a great country again.
But if they don't do that...
But if they don't...
They won't have...
A country...
They won't have a country. So thank you very much.
He's making it very clear.
Are you considering still putting boots on the ground, and would you...
Do you still consider putting soldiers on the ground?
Do that without going to Congress?
I just have lots of alternatives. We have...
No! We have a large number of alternatives.
ships over there.
We have a lot of ships.
All of them because of, the power. Look, I would say we're just like we're ahead of schedule on the ballroom in a much bigger way. We're ahead of schedule with Iran. We're weeks ahead of schedule. If you would have said that in 3 days, we were going to knock out 158 ships every...
He says they have meetings scheduled with Iran.
That in 3 days they were going to take out 158 ships from our entire Christmas.
He says, in 3 days we wipe out their entire fleet.
Yes, we did. They broke all our strength.
We have wiped out their entire air force.
We took out most of their missiles. That's why
We've destroyed most of their missiles.
missile attacks, but they're down to this
That's why you see that the missile attacks have decreased.
buttering. And we have a group, he says.
We have a new group within the regime.
It's a new group of people we've never dealt with before.
People we hadn't worked with before. They're negotiating with new people. Donald Trump is saying this.
Before, that are acting very reasonable.
Who act quite reasonably, and that it's a complete regime. I have the feeling that what they're looking for is for something to happen within the regime. An event that allows the fall of the regime, for there to be defections, for there to be remnants within the regime. In Tehran, leverage the arrival of American troops to reinforce it and give it momentum. I think Donald Trump is buying time to gather forces, to gather personnel, to have the ability to strike on the ground. And, in the meantime, those who seem to be negotiating with Donald Trump should prepare the ground so that everything is easier and smoother. I'd like to remind you, and I'm being objective about this, Iran is a country that sent 2 million people to their deaths in a war with its neighbor Iraq. Shiites against Shiites launched missiles and threw everything imaginable at each other. But the options are there. What's the current situation in the Strait of Hormuz? What's happening there? Today, supposedly 20 ships were supposed to cross as a gift for Donald Trump. We see one crossing now. What? This one, is it going inward, outward? We have this one. That just crossed. It's curious because it was able to change. This one is Iranian. It's waiting to be able to cross. Are they going to allow those ships to cross like Donald Trump said, or was it just a bluff? Look at how the situation with the oil tankers is right now. Oil tankers waiting to cross, to deliver fuel to the world. There are several of them, you know? There are several. Karg Island, none. None nearby. There are some that are ships from the Ghost Fleet, very old, very dangerous. They could have an accident and create a real natural disaster. The coasts of Dubai, Qatar, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia could be covered in oil sludge. But right now, the situation doesn't seem to show much movement. There don't seem to be images, military planes. What do we have? This tanker plane we see here from the United States, it cut its signal at the point we just saw. It just left. They are starting military operations in Bushehr. It could be a preparation for a large-scale operation. It could happen soon. Pronto. There are still a few hours left in which obviously a lot of things will be decided. I still think that the moment the ideal weather conditions are met, the United States could launch an operation. It could launch 2 operations or 3 operations at once. It doesn't have to be just one. If Iran already has a hard time managing its airspace or its military communications, just imagine 3 operations at the same time, attacking from several places. By the way, Russian plane, this is striking. Russian plane right now heading to Damascus. How curious, right? Today, Yolani Ahmed al-Shahara, she came out to say that they can provide safe access to the Mediterranean through pipelines, oil pipelines, and gas pipelines. To bring gas and oil to Europe, Yolani wants to jump on the bandwagon. Of money, thanks. Of black oil? Of black gold? I don't think so. I think the plans will go more from Israel to Cyprus, from Cyprus to Greece, and from Greece to Europe. I think the project is going to be groundbreaking in the future. That is going to cause Turkey to be on the brink of war because Turkey is going to lose a huge amount of money. What if Israel, the United States, and the countries in the region build a mega project to transport hydrocarbons under the sea? And that will have a significant impact on the entire region. Will countries like Jordan, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Qatar, all the oil producers benefit from all this? Turkey would only have some Iraqi companies sending oil, fuel through Turkey for Turkey's own consumption. But Turkey would never again serve or never again act as a transit route to the European Union. It's an intermediary that's removed because in any case Greece has to be another one of them. That is, when the oil crosses, it either goes to Romania, Bulgaria, or it has to pass through Greece. So, what is done here is to remove Turkey from the equation. That is to skip intermediaries and create a new route that is completely safe. In fact, just today, a short while ago, Iran attacked one of those hydrocarbon transport pipelines. There is a very strong column of fire right now and smoke in some areas. Iran is clearly attacking the most important communication areas between, for example, the United States and the world, and is launching attacks on energy infrastructure. I was saying that Azmi al-Shar has made a statement. Here it is. It's not a lie.
I think that today there are major threats to the transport lines. Updates are necessary.
He's basically saying what we just said. If the Red Sea or Strait of Hormuz is disrupted, Syria acts as a safe haven to protect supply chains. Thanks to its strategic location, European countries will suffer the consequences of the disruption of energy supplies coming from the Persian Gulf. Now, Ahmed al-Shara al-Jolani, the player with heads, leader of Al-Qaeda, member of the Islamic State, for a while he talks and comments, and he speaks that they are Europe's guarantee of energy security. This has just begun. This story we're witnessing has just begun. This is only the beginning. The war starts now. And we're going to be surprised. We're going to be really surprised. Israel has attacked an air defense center near the Caspian. Near the Caspian Sea, an air defense center has been attacked. Again, if an air operation is launched against Tehran or any of those places have to be destroyed. Why would you destroy an air defense so far north in the Caspian Sea if you don't intend to launch a ground operation that includes the use of low-flying aircraft? So we keep getting clues about what's going to happen. Clues keep coming in about the events that are about to unfold, and there are quite a few of them. Images. These are images from the IDF. What's going on there? We see it ourselves. This is interesting. Very, very interesting. Underground facility destroyed. And also, what you're about to see now? A wind tunnel. Where the aerodynamic capability of the missiles is tested. Can you see it there? The missile is assembled so it can fly better, so it can fall more accurately on cities, on civilians, on the Holy Sepulchre. Why do I say this? Why do I bring it up? Well then, yesterday's controversy was about Pizzaballa. Today the story is different. Today's photograph. There we can see Pizzaballa with the chief of police and police representatives. In Jerusalem, the atmosphere is relaxed, there are smiles, there's a good vibe. After a productive meeting between the Israeli police and the Latin Catholic Cardinal Pizzaballa, a framework for mutual agreement has been established for the upcoming Easter ceremonies. Due to the complex security situation posed by Operation Roaring Lion, the ceremonies, including the Holy Fire, will be held in a symbolic and limited way. This coordination will ensure that freedom of worship is maintained while fulfilling our primary duty, the protection of human life. In recent weeks, Iranian missiles and debris have landed inside the old city. These life-saving restrictions are a direct response to a real imminent danger for all the faithful. I think it couldn't be clearer. Herzog? I don't know. The same thing is not being said. I reaffirm Israel's strong commitment to religious freedom for members of all religions and the importance of preserving the status quo at Jerusalem's holy sites. On behalf of the State of Israel, I would like to send my warmest greetings on the occasion of the upcoming Easter. To the Latin Patriarch, my Christian brothers and sisters in the Holy Land, and all Christian friends in the Middle East and worldwide. I ask myself a question. With all this, I, as a human being, a citizen of the world, I wonder how long would the tomb last? The Mount of Olives, the Kotel, the wall would remain standing or open if Iran had control of Jerusalem, if jihadist groups had control of Jerusalem. We have seen churches burned with people inside. We have seen the Balkan War. We have seen it in Lebanon. We have seen it in Syria. We have seen hundreds of minority ethnic groups fleeing from the jihadists. We see it in Africa, the persecutions of African Christians, the groups that are terrorists. Of course, with this, what point do we reach? Where is the story? Israel is the only one that currently guarantees freedom of worship. You can be a Christian and pray without anyone bothering you. There are obviously people in Israel who follow the very conservative, even radical Lama de Jesus, who do attack Christians. A complaint is filed, police arrive, and the people are arrested for a crime. Racism also exists in Israel, that's true, but it exists in every country. But anyone can go visit the tomb. If Iran were in charge, I don't know. I don't know. I have my doubts, serious doubts about what the future would be like with Iran in charge of the Holy Land. That's why, right now, the best guarantee is Israel and Iran that's doing this. Images from today. Anti-aircraft missiles destroying Iranian missiles. Will you let us fly? And this is interesting. What's going to happen with the ambassador of Iran in Beirut? Yesterday, he was supposed to leave the country because here, the boss says, the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Iran said that the ambassador is going to stay and do his job in Beirut and that no one is going to kick him out. Is Lebanon a sovereign country? Is Lebanon a country where there is freedom? Where the law is respected? It seems not, because the ambassador hasn't left and doesn't plan to leave. Who really rules in Lebanon? It's one of the questions anyone can ask themselves right now. It's the effect that comes from harboring terrorists in southern Lebanon. Israel has already reached the closest part of the Litani River, obviously. But it has also come under fire. Haifa, the petrochemical plant there, the refinery, has been hit by a ballistic missile. 100%. But there are also bombings in Tehran. Now. It's hell, it's absolute hell what we're seeing right now, what we're finding out. Images from Haifa. Officially, Israel says that the damage is minimal. I saw the missile fall. There is damage. Obviously, it's a ballistic missile, not a stone. And there is damage, so it's important. This is the video, the moment of impact. Please pay attention. We're about to see this exclusively on Military Strategies. One of the attacks on the country's critical industry. Let's zoom in on the image. And we see it again. Yes, there has been an attack and there has been an impact, but here there has also been an impact. Beirut, Dajia. We see it again. Upper right. Targeted elimination. Streets of Siram. Passage forces are still around with a yellow jumpsuit, so the drones can get there. They want to get to heaven as quickly as possible. This can only be solved with many drones, a lot of air power, and troops on the ground. Gaza. Gathering of black sheep, spring barbecue. Elimination. The entire floor of a building, either next to or near the Kuwaiti embassy in Beirut, has blown up. Who was there? We don't know. Iran, what are they preparing? Everyone is preparing for the Great War. There is also material damage from those rocket attacks from Lebanon, and there is also damage in Israel. That's how the day is going right now, at 3:53. 3:53 here in Spain, 4:53 in Israel. News keeps coming in and appearing everywhere. Today, I think things are going to happen important. There's talk of a decrease in the number of missiles being launched from Iran. I don't believe that. What I do know is that they're clearing the entrances to the tunnels and firing missiles. They still have missiles. They still have launchers. I think it's still too soon to say that they no longer have the capability, because that's not true. The capability is still there. Even though people want to say that they are greatly diminished, which is true, they can still open the tunnels. Canin. He is not seen in public, but they say that sometimes he speaks. We don't know whether he's in this world or the next. In Tanyaku, he wanted to expand the region's security belt, but the astute and brave response of the brothers from Hezbollah in the north and Ansar Allah in the south exposed the regime's false promises to the settlers. The wish of the resistance commanders and martyrs has been fulfilled. The war room of the resistance front is simply saying, get used to the new order in the region. Houthis, Hezbollah, and Idam. Canin. It's curious. All of this is striking. Very curious and striking. We haven't seen Israel respond in Yemen yet, and I don't think we will, at least for now. We're not going to see it for now. Let's wait. First, we have to finish off Iran. Hundreds of United States Special Operations Forces, including the Rangers and the Navy SEALs, have been deployed in the Middle East. This scares me. All of this scares me, I'm afraid. Terrible, really, really terrible. Because also the ones who are going to fly the helicopters are the same ones who dragged Maduro out of bed. The same people. The Navy SEALs are now joining in, along with the Rangers, in a very, very complex operation. But if anyone can do it, if anyone can actually make this happen, it's the United States of America. They are the only ones who have the capability to do it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It's incredible. I mean it. The hours ahead are going to be incredible. And with Spain positioning itself on the wrong side of the war, on the wrong side of history and of the future, Spain in the world, economically, it's going to suffer economically. It has challenged the wrong person. The misfortune is that all Spaniards are going to pay for it. Family, see you later. This afternoon here on Military Strategies. Thank you very much. Really, it's been a real pleasure. Military Strategies.